Hi there, Paul French with Innovation and Tech today, here in the lab with Dr. Mark Rosenfeld. Dr. Rosenfeld, great to be speaking with you today.
Glad to be here and being able to talk to you.
So CBD is something that was on the fringes of public interest for a while, but now it's starting to make its approach toward mainstream understanding. Could you tell us a little bit about what CBD is?
Oh, of course. CBD refers to a compound called cannabidiol. And cannabidiol is a substance that's found only in cannabis plants. Cannabis plants are of two sorts. There are, number one, what we know as marijuana, and number two, industrial hemp. The difference between marijuana and industrial hemp is simply that marijuana has a lot of a compound called tetrahydrocannabinol. That's the psychoactive compound, the reason people get high, while industrial hemp has almost none, and therefore people can get not high from that. On the other hand, it also has other chemistry in it, both marijuana and industrial hemp. And very notably, it also has cannabidiol. Cannabidiol is a different compound. You cannot get high from cannabidiol. There are no known side effects even from its ingestion at this stage of the game, which is very promising. And there are bits of information that suggest very strong medicinal attributes to cannabidiol. So, for example, efficient for perhaps alleviating pain, efficient for reducing the inflammation associated with inflammatory bowel disease, eliminating or at least reducing atherosclerosis. Also, there are very strong indications that cannabidiol could be a very effective compound for rheumatoid arthritis. And this is actually a subject of great interest at Oxford University at the present time. For the longest period of time, the authorities have prohibited anything to do with cannabis or marijuana to become something of a real nature in the United States. So at the time at which they created the Schedule 1, that is where they talk about specific substances and plants and so on that you cannot use. Schedule 1 means there are no medicinal uses by definition, and that it only has potential for abuse. Definition of Schedule 1. They just put everything that was in the cannabis plant into Schedule 1. It was simply that. Now, but what happened is over time, the realization came that we may have, really been too aggressive. I won't argue recreational marijuana use one way or another, but what I will argue is that I think that we've made a great mistake in not allowing the exploration of the compounds within cannabis to be used medicinally. Yeah. When we started ANANDA Scientific, it was started with an eye towards looking at making cannabinoid real medicine, or at least validating that it was, and then making cannabinoids real medicine, which is really the real way to do it. And there are processes and procedures that you must follow, to make anything as a scientist. What are, okay, if it's medicine, how do I make a good medicine? If it's medicine, what are the unmet needs? That is, what are the things that I need to resolve in order to make this good medicine? So going in, there were several things. So for example, the cannabinoids in general, only if you were to swallow a cannabinoid, which, by the way, is the overwhelmingly preferred way to take a medication.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's 99% of people preferred. Right. The numbers are almost that high. What are the problems with taking by mouth? The first one is bioavailability. Yes. How much can I get into the bloodstream? Well, it turns out 5% of what I take, maybe 6% on average, somewhere in there, of what I take will get into my bloodstream when taken by mouth. Well, we know that if we're less than 20% and even less than 30%, we have no control of the drug. And so that we only have two ways around that. Number one is to give up. Number two is to give prodigious amounts of that drug. Okay, so in other words, make up for the bioavailability by giving a lot. Well, what does a lot mean? There could be effects on the liver. It's called liver load. There could be other kinds of effects. If nothing else, cannabinoids cost a lot of money. My idea is that if cannabinoids, and we can talk about specific, medical circumstances, but my idea is that, and it should be the way we look at all medical, is that if this has human benefit, then this human benefit must be maximized. And by maximizing it is A, verifying its uses, okay, putting it in a fashion that will allow us to deliver that economically. Why? So people can afford it, or governments can afford it, in order for people to get the medicine that they need.